custom flights. It's helpful, but you still have to go do the work. You have to log in, book the tickets, check your
Hello.
calendar, and
If
input
you've
your
just
credit card.
landed here,
An
welcome.
agent doesn't just
This is
describe the work,
Pirate
it does
Radio.
the work.
And
It has
before anything
access to
else,
your
let me say
calendar,
this.
your travel
This
apps,
isn't a
your
normal
payment
YouTube
systems.
channel,
It
and it's
reasons through
not
the
meant to be.
logistics. It says, I
Most
found the
things on
flight, but it
YouTube
conflicts with
are
your Tuesday
designed to
meeting,
grab your
so I
attention
moved the
as
meeting,
fast
booked
as
the hotel,
possible,
and
hold
here
it
is your
for as long
itinerary.
as possible,
Which
and
sounds
then move you
convenient
on to the next
until you
thing.
realize the computational
This,
cost of
well,
that
it's not that.
It's not just
Pirate
convenience,
Radio is
it's
an experiment.
capability. This is
It's
what we
an
call
art
system two
project
thinking. In human
and a
psychology,
technical
system one
exploration
is
of what
fast and
happens when modern
instinctive.
AI
System
is allowed
two
to
is
run
slow,
slow,
deliberate
long,
reasoning.
and
Models like
continuously,
OpenAI's
more like
O3 or
radio
DeepSeek
than
R1 are
social
now
media.
beginning to exhibit this.
Everything you
They don't just
see
spit out
here
answers. They
is
pause,
AI
they think,
generated.
they
This
simulate
is my real
thousands of potential
voice.
paths, check their
However,
own logic,
this is my
backtrack
avatar,
if they find an
hence the
error, and then present a
slightly
solution.
uncanny
Schmidt
valley
notes that these
feel
models
when
can
you
take
look at my
15
eye
minutes to
movements,
process a single complex query.
especially.
and that is exactly where the
It's not
physics
to freak
problem
you out.
begins.
It's just that
You are
my
describing a
avatar
massive
is somewhat
spike
better
in
looking than I am in
computational
real life,
intensity.
and
In the industry,
also
we call this the inference
I live on a
cost.
boat.
If a model takes
You will
15
find
minutes
out
to
more about that
think
later.
about a problem,
And
it is
I
burning
just not
energy
set
that
up
entire
to
time.
be able
Look
to
at the
record
output.
myself
Schmidt points
in a
out
way
that in
that the
those
quality
15
would be
minutes,
decent
the
enough.
AI can
So
produce a deep research
there's
paper that
what
would
you
take
can
a
expect
human
is
scientist
music,
months to compile.
AI
It's
generated
compressing time.
music,
You say
voices,
compressing
visuals, and
time. I say
conversations.
expanding
But,
consumption.
and this is
There's a
important,
principle
it's
in
not about
technology called
replacing
Jevons
humans or
paradox.
pretending AI
Efficiency
is
just leads to
human.
greater consumption.
It's about asking a
Committing knowledge
quieter
is the old
question.
adage.
What
Grove giveth,
happens
and Gates taketh away.
when we stop
Hardware
demanding
engineers make chips faster
performance
and more
from
efficient, and then
machines and
software engineers
instead
immediately
let
write
them
bloated
keep
code
a
that eats
rhythm?
up all those gains.
All right.
If we move
So
from
I am
simple
reading a
queries
script
to
here
these reasoning
generated by
agents that
AI.
grind on a
This is
problem for
purely
15
just a
minutes, we are
test.
increasing the compute
So
requirement by a
continuing,
factor of
pirate
100 or
radio
even
runs
1,000 per
for hours
task.
at a
That's the
time,
price of intelligence.
sometimes all
If that
day,
15 minutes of compute
sometimes
invents a
through
new
the
battery
night.
chemistry, the
You're
energy
not
investment
expected
pays
to
for
sit
itself
and
a
watch.
million
You're
times
not
over.
expected to
You're
finish
assuming the
anything.
output is
You're
always a
meant to
Nobel
drift in and
Prize.
out,
But human nature
like old
suggests
radio,
otherwise.
like
Software
leaving
people
something
just use it
playing
and use it.
while you
We aren't
work,
just going to use
cook,
these
sleep,
agents to cure
or think.
cancer. We're going to use them to
Okay, I
optimize
think
ad
that'll do for
targeting,
now
to
because I
generate
don't want to
infinite
burn
video
up all my
content, to
tokens.
argue with people on social media.
This
We are
is
talking about shifting from deep learning, which is
my
already energy intensive,
real
to
voice.
reinforcement learning and
However, I
complex
am
reasoning
using
chains.
an
This is
avatar
the zenith of energy consumption.
of
And this brings
myself,
us to the hard number Schmidt
partly
dropped in his testimony,
because it's
the 90 gigawatt
convenient. I
reality
do
check.
not have a good
It is a
setup
stark
here
number. For the U.S.
for
to meet the
camera
projected
lighting,
demand for this AI
and to be
expansion,
quite
we need
honest,
to
my
add 90
avatar
gigawatts of
is far
capacity
better
to the grid.
looking than I am
Stark is
in
an
real
understatement.
life.
It's
So
impossible under current
that's the
conditions.
reason.
90 gigawatts is roughly equivalent to 90
Also,
nuclear power
I
plants.
intend
To
to
put that in perspective,
retain
the United
my
States is built virtually
anonymity,
zero nuclear capacity
at
in
least for the
decades.
time
The
being,
grid is
but
already
I'm using
straining
my
under
real
the load
voice
of EVs
because
and
I
heat
want this
pumps.
to be
Now you have
authentic in
these
every way.
hungry hippo models,
And I'm
maybe
going to
all the
introduce
data,
you a
and
little
now they're
bit
eating
to
all the electrons.
the pirate
This is
radio
why Schmidt
station,
argues that
the
we
reason
cannot
for
rely
its
on the traditional
existence,
grid. The hungry
and a
hippo
little bit
analogy is
about
apt, but the
myself.
solution isn't to starve the
And
hippo. It's
I
to
have no
find new feeding
script,
grounds.
so
We need to look at
there'll
this
be lots
creatively.
of
We don't
embarrassing
necessarily need to build
pauses
those
and
90 plants in the
and
suburbs
ahs.
of Northern
I'm
Virginia,
sorry
where
about
the
that.
data
I
centers
may edit
currently
some of
sit.
it out,
But you
but
can't just put them
as I say,
anywhere.
I wish for
Data
this to
centers
sound
need baseload
authentic,
power. They run
because it is
24/7.
authentic.
You can't run a $1 trillion cluster on solar panels that turn off
So
at
the
night, or
reason
wind turbines that
for
stop when the
the
air is
pirate
still.
radio
You need
station,
consistent,
okay.
massive power.
Um,
And batteries at that scale are just geometrically too
6
expensive.
months
So you're
ago,
back to gas, coal,
it
or
occurred
nuclear.
to me for the
Or
first
hydro.
time
This
that
is where the
I
Canada
could
option
become a
comes into play.
YouTuber,
We have neighbors with
and I
vast,
could use
untapped
YouTube
hydroelectric potential.
as a kind
Schmidt
of
suggests partnering with Canada
marketing
to
tool
tap into that clean,
for a
consistent
platform
baseload.
that
Have
I've
you seen how
been
long it takes to permit a transmission line
effectively
across state borders, let
building
alone
for the last
international
10
ones?
years,
You're talking about a 10-year
although
timeline for
that's
the
a bit
wire alone.
misleading
AI is scaling now.
because
The timeline
the
mismatch is fatal.
platform
The models need to
has
power in 18
evolved in
months.
my
The
mind
grid
over
takes
10
15
years,
years.
Then
and
we go where the
I've been
power is
building
already being
certain
built.
parts of the platform as the overall concept has evolved, and I'm going to get into that in some detail later on. But just to get the ball rolling, the purpose of the YouTube channel is to test out the theory of using YouTube as a means for
the U.S. government is currently obsessed with
marketing
onshoring.
the
We are spending
platform
billions on the
that
CHIPS Act
is
to make sure we make the silicon here, and
behind
now you're suggesting we take the
the
most advanced
YouTube
intelligence systems
pirate
ever created,
radio
the brain of the
station's
future economy, and
existence.
physically host them
Okay,
in foreign jurisdictions?
It's global energy arbitrage.
so
It's
let
economics.
me
It's
explain
geopolitical suicide.
what
If
I
you
mean by
put your
that.
critical AI infrastructure
The
in the Gulf, you are
original
handing over the kill switch to another sovereign
concept
nation.
I had for the
Energy deals can be
platform
severed. Cables
was
can be cut.
actually
We're
a
trying
What's
to
On
avoid
guide
dependencies on
10
foreign
years
oil,
ago,
and your
more or
solution is
less.
to create a
It
dependency
occurred to
on
me
foreign
that
compute. That creates the
if
exact
it were
vulnerabilities the
possible
U.S. doctrine is trying to
to
eliminate.
have a
The
global
alternative is
What's On
losing the race
guide,
entirely.
meaning
That brings us to the
doesn't matter
geopolitical
where you
stakes
are
Schmidt
in the
laid out.
world,
This isn't just about trade
um,
balances. It's about
the
survival.
platform
Schmidt used a
would be
very
able to
specific
inform
chilling
you of
analogy, mutually
the
assured
vibe
destruction.
of
It was incredibly
wherever
dark
you
rhetoric for a
are
tech
and
talk.
what's
It's a
going on around you,
necessary realization
essentially,
of the game board.
based on its
We're in a competition with China.
knowledge
The
of
nature of
what
these
you're
AI systems
interested
is
in, and
winner take all
obviously
because of the
you
network
would
effect.
share as much
If an
information
adversary is just
with the
6 months behind
platform
you,
as
they
you feel
aren't just
comfortable
slightly
with,
worse. They are effectively
and
obsolete. The leading system
that would
uses
be
its
really
intelligence
cool.
to improve itself
But of
recursively,
course,
widening the
how
gap
would
at
you
an
do that?
exponential rate.
So
Which leads Schmidt to his
the
terrifying logical
concept
conclusion.
Right. If you were the
in the
losing
back of my
side and you
mind was,
realize you were
well,
about to be permanently locked
you'd
out
have
of
to
the future, the
crowdsource the
rational move in
information,
a game theory sense might be to flip the
and
board. Schmidt literally discussed the
that
concept of
way
bombing the data center.
Bomb
you
the
could
data center. I mean, just
make a
think about that
scalable
phrase. We're
platform that
normalizing
could
the
be
idea of
global
kinetic
in
warfare
reach.
to stop a software
Now, of course,
update.
there
It's
was
not to
machine
stop an
learning back
update.
then.
It's to
Even back
stop a
then,
hegemony.
it
The
was a
logic
thing.
is, if I can't beat you in
Google
code, I have to
was
destroy your
already
physical capacity
exploring
to
machine
compute to
learning,
reset the clock. This is why the
especially
U.S.
with,
doctrine has
funnily
to be
enough,
one of overwhelming
the
superiority.
job
We
market.
need to maintain
I
such
say
a
funnily
massive
enough,
lead and
you'll
such tight
come to
control over the
realize
chips and
why
the supply chain that the
I
gap
say
is
that, but
insurmountable.
That
it's very
doctrine is
much
already
directly
showing cracks.
related to
Look at what happened
my
with DeepSeek.
platform.
The U.S. spent years constructing this
So
complex regime of export
the
controls to
idea
deny China the H100 chips, the
was
top-tier hardware.
born
The theory
from
was,
a
if they
What's
don't have
On
the brute force
guide,
power, they can't
creating
build
a
the model.
And it
platform
slowed them
that
down.
could
Did it?
somehow
DeepSeek
crowdsource
R1
all
showed
of
that
the
they could innovate
information.
around the hardware constraint.
And
They found
from
algorithmic
there,
efficiencies. They
I
wrote better
developed
code
the
that allowed
concept
them to get
of
reasoning capabilities on inferior chips.
UTP,
They
which was
proved
a
that brute
deliberate
force isn't the only
play
path up
on
the mountain.
the
They are still drafting off our
HTTP
architecture, though.
For
protocol,
now,
the
but the point
FTP
is, this
protocol,
whole Cold War
basically
framing assumes that hardware
UTP
is the only
meaning
bottleneck.
an
If
acronym
algorithmic
for
innovation
user,
allows you to
time,
do more
and
with less
place,
energy and fewer
or
chips, then
in
the
other
bomb the data
words,
center strategy is
who,
obsolete.
where, and
You
when.
can't bomb code that runs on
And the
distributed
idea behind that
consumer-grade
was that it
hardware.
would be a
Schmidt's
coordinate in
rhetoric about
a
MAD,
vector
if this
space, in
justifies
a
massive
three-dimensional
military
space,
spending and closed-source monopolies,
rather
then it
than
might be fighting the
a
last
link,
war.
a
I disagree
URL
that
to
it's
a
fighting the
specific
last war. The
document
open
on
source
some
path you're
server
hinting at is
somewhere.
fraught with even
This
more
would
peril.
be a
Schmidt rightly
UTP would
worries about
actually be a
proliferation.
coordinate,
If you have a
just
bioweapon
kind of like a
design
map
agent that runs
coordinate,
on a
but in
laptop, because of
three-dimensional space.
algorithmic efficiency,
And
you have
that's
democratized
now
catastrophe.
become
We need centralized control points.
recognizable as a
Centralizing it, you
vector
create the target, you
database.
create the single point
Even
of failure that
back
invites
then,
the attack.
actually,
But let's
there
zoom
wasn't
out.
really such a
Suppose
thing
we
as a
solve
vector
the energy problem.
database.
Suppose we navigate the war
So
of
that's
time without
evolved
blowing up the data
as
center.
well,
We arrive at the
alongside
destination,
my
the global
thinking
brain.
on this
This is where
platform.
the hype is justified.
So
We are
rather
pivoting to
than
the limit
ramble
of
on
knowledge.
much
Schmidt
more,
envisions a world where we
to cut a long
concatenate
story
these agents
short,
together. You don't just have
the
one AI,
original
you have
concept of
millions of them,
Global What's On
specialized and
Guide
autonomous.
evolved
Swarm.
into a
Productive
platform
swarm.
that
An agent for
would
sales talks
use
to an agent for
artificial
shipping, which talks
intelligence
to an agent for
and
legal. They run business
specifically vector
processes
databases
autonomously.
in order to effectively crowdsource trillions of UTPs, these little packets of information that would be, for example, somebody's experience on a night out in Barcelona. Say they're on holiday and they happen to come across a taverna with some live music that was particularly impressive, and the food, and so they record a UTP, a user time and place, who, where and when, about this particular occasion, and that would be one example of a UTP, and the relevance to a global What Song Guide should start to become a bit more obvious now. So that's a lot of rambling on from me, but the platform evolved over a 10-year period, and the concept has evolved to encompass much more than a What Song Guide, and I call this platform the EnvyNet, and it's comprised of nodes that are specific to certain domains in life, and a good example of that would be the Job Envy node, which is intended to aid job seekers in finding work, and also vice versa, help employers find employees. A new way of doing this entirely, based on the UTP principle. And there are other nodes, including Home Envy, and obviously the Home Envy, well, maybe not obviously, but I'll explain. Home Envy is the same concept, but to help people find places to live, accommodation, property to purchase and sell. And then, of course, you could extend this on, and I have done in concept at least, to Love Envy, which would be very familiar as a kind of a relationship, dating kind of platform or node. And then there's the Vibe Envy node, which is actually the What Song Guide. That's the original concept right there. So for now, I think we'll leave it right there. Here's the first question from the live stream from Quite Signal. The question is, Captain Bob, is this channel meant to be something you actively watch, or something you let run in the background like a real radio? Yeah, it definitely is inspired by the pirate radio stations of old. I live on a boat. That makes sense. And of course, I love the idea of a pirate radio station too, something that is not non-mainstream, a little bit on the rebellious side. And I have a love for music and the arts, and AI is something quite new. There's something about the music that it generates that is exceptional, as I think you will find out. And of course, this is very early days, and the video segments, the 8-second videos that are generated, are really superb, and combining the two together just makes total sense. And then, of course, there's also the podcasts, the video and audio podcasts being generated too, as a reaction to other people's YouTube channels, offering valuable insights across multiple channels as sources. So you're getting an AI's opinion, basically, on itself,
And if we do power
So,
it, we may not be
to
able to
answer your
control it.
question,
It is the highest stakes gamble in human history.
it's both.
But
It's
looking at the
something you can
potential
have on
upside,
in the
I'd say we have no
background,
choice but to roll the dice.
That's certainly a gamble.
because there
I
are
just hope the
segments
agent
throughout
rolling
the
the dice knows when
day
to cash
that
out.
is
There's certainly more to
designed
explore here,
specifically
and I
for that.
suspect the 90 gigawatt number will be
I call
headline
it
news sooner than we
showtime.
think.
I suspect you're right.
It's
This has
kind
been
of
an antisocial
music
broadcast for the pirate
and
radio station, Solandius.
screensavers, something you could have projected up on your wall there, on your main screen, on your big screen TV up on the wall there. Maybe it's something you put on for your animals, for your pets whilst you're out, at work, just to keep your dogs company, right? Why not? Your goldfish. In fact, my mum, she has a projector. She projects her YouTube up on her wall. She's got a massive screen, in effect, that is the projection of YouTube up on her wall there. And she loves those screensavers, those, what do you call those music, relaxed to, Parisian cafe and, snowstorms and fireplaces. She loves that as company throughout the day.